is huge. This is huge, Sandeep. The fact that Washington Post is now reporting it wasn't just Israel, but Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia is seen as defender of the faith. So the defender of the faith also wanted Iran to be targeted because the entire region, according to the several reports, were apprehensive that Iran could strike, and Iran did strike. Iran did strike UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, except Oman. Of the G6 GCC countries, except Oman that was facilitating peace talks, every other country was targeted, Sandeep.
Absolutely, Gaurav. And the fact is that what Mayan mentioned is that what was there in October 2023, we were looking at Saudi Arabia literally a handshake away from normalizing with Israel as part of the Abraham Accords. And if that handshake had gone through, you'd have seen a very, very big chunk of the Muslim world coming together, recognizing Israel. And that is what Yahya Sinwar's attack on the 7th of October 2023 did, which is to disrupt the progress, the slow, steady progress of the Abraham Accords. And today, I'm not surprised then that Saudi Arabia is, backing these attacks on Iran. If Iran is out of the picture, Gaurav, you have that final piece of the jigsaw puzzle, falling into place, which is Saudi Arabia, being on the same page with Israel. It's not on overt as of now. A lot of backroom jockeying is on, as the Washington Post story seems to suggest. The fact is that the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, the pragmatic man, has probably seen the future of the region, and he believes that it is in his interest to have closer ties with Israel to complete that mosaic of the Abraham Accords.
So let me then take it forward. The thought that would move forward, should this happen, Mayan, remember when India was hosting the G20, during India's G20 presidency, there was a conversation around IMEC, India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, and that was inked, and that passes through the Haifa port. UAE, Saudi Arabia were to be on board. They were on board that time. October 7, 2023 attack that held it back. Do you see that moving forward now, Mayan?
I wouldn't call it now, but I would call it that if we are successful, the United States and Israel, in eradicating the Iranian regime, if we see that there is more peace in the region and the effect of this war is successful, then certainly I believe that that would be something that would move forward. I also believe that you would begin to see the opportunity again for normalization. As he mentioned, it's not overt right now. It is covert discussions, things happening behind the scenes, which, by the way, we've had knowledge from, for quite some time that these discussions have been going on between the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. Obviously, all of the different attacks that have taken place going back to June over the summer, when we had the first escalation, were in collaboration with Saudi Arabia. I'm sorry, we're just getting a rocket siren here in Jerusalem right now.
Absolutely, you stay safe. You stay safe. You get into a shelter wherever it's safe. I'll come back to you in just a moment, because I believe there's just been, sadly, a death in Jerusalem. There has just been a strike, a rocket strike in Jerusalem, and one person was killed in it. That's the information that's coming in. But Sandeep, as we wait for Geeta Mohan to join us and more analysts and experts to join us, that's a huge claim for Washington Post to make, that Saudi Arabia also advocated this time for strikes in Iran, which means the appreciation was, this is the best time to deal with the threat, whatever is the ramifications, whatever other ramifications. This is a time when the regime was at its weakest in Iran.
Absolutely, Gaurav. And the fact is that Saudi Arabia, there's no country that's as threatened by the rise of Iran, nuclear-armed Iran, than Saudi Arabia. Of course, if Iran were to go down the nuclear route, the primary target for its weapons would be Israel. The second target would be Saudi Arabia. And Prince MBS has said so publicly that if Iran went nuclear, Saudi Arabia would almost immediately reach for nuclear weapons and get them from wherever they can. And, so this is possibly MBS at his pragmatic best, realizing that a regime change in Iran is the best way forward for Saudi Arabia's rise in the region. He has a long vision, Gaurav, extending into the middle of the 21st century. He's one of the youngest leaders in West Asia. He's not even 40 years old. And going by the history of his family, they're very long-lived monarchs. They, rule till they're in their 80s and their 90s. So you're looking at a leader who's here in West Asia, possibly until the year 2075, if all goes well. That's practically 3/4 of the 21st century. He's seeing the long road ahead. He's seen the right thing to do, and possibly that he looks at the removal of the regime in Iran as one of the reasons that would benefit the rise of Saudi Arabia.
So what you would see at this point of time, Sandeep, is both Saudi Arabia and Israel advocated strikes on Iran. If this Washington Post report is true and the strikes are taking place, even as we speak, Israel has said 500 different locations have already been targeted in less than 24 hours. It's not yet 24 hours, and 500 different locations have been targeted across Iran. This shows the length and breadth, one, of military planning, two, military execution, and this is just phase one. Phase two is yet to begin,